The Star Weaver. Long ago, there was a village known as the Village of the Silent Sky. It was a place where laughter was a whisper and songs were forgotten. For as long as anyone could remember, the night sky above them had been a vast, empty canvas of black. The villagers believed the stars had simply grown tired of shining. But a young boy named Leo, with eyes full of questions, still held on to the old stories his grandmother told him, tales of a sky that once glittered like a sea of diamonds. One evening, as Leo sat on the hill, he heard a sound so faint it could have been a trick of the wind. It was a soft, melodic hum, like a distant lullaby. He had never heard anything so beautiful in his village. Driven by a curiosity that felt like a tiny spark inside him, he followed the sound. It led him away from the sleeping houses and up a winding, rocky path toward the highest peak, where a small, hidden cave was nestled among the rocks. Inside the cave, the hum grew louder. It was coming from an old woman, her face a map of gentle wrinkles, who sat at a massive, glowing loom. She was weaving with threads of pure light, her hands moving with a grace that seemed to defy her age. As Leo watched, a tiny, shimmering point of light detached from the loom and floated into the air. It was a star, and it was singing the very song he had heard. This was Alara, the Star Weaver. "The stars," she said, her voice like the rustle of dry leaves, "did not grow tired. They grew heavy. The dreams of your people have become so full of sadness and worry that the stars can no longer hold them. They have all fallen, one by one, into the great sea of forgotten things." She looked at Leo with eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 nights. "I am the last of the Star Weavers, and I am too old and too tired to continue alone." Leo felt a pang in his chest. He thought of his quiet village and the empty sky. "I can help," he said, his voice small but firm. Alara smiled, a gentle curve that lit up her face. She motioned for him to sit beside her. "Weaving a star is not like weaving cloth," she explained. "You must listen to the dreams of the world. You must find the hope and the joy, even the smallest spark, and weave it into the light." Leo tried. He pulled at the threads of light, but they slipped through his fingers. He tried to listen, but all he heard was the echo of the village's sadness. His first attempts were clumsy knots and tangled messes. He felt a wave of despair, but then he remembered his grandmother's stories and the feeling of wonder they gave him. He closed his eyes and focused on that feeling. He imagined the village as it once was, filled with laughter and song. He imagined the dreams he wished they would have. He wove with his heart, not just his hands, and as he did, a tiny, brilliant point of light formed between his fingers. It pulsed with a soft, warm glow. It was small, but it was perfect. He had woven his very first star. With the star held carefully in his pocket, Leo ran back to the village. He stood in the center of the silent square and held the star high. The villagers, drawn by the strange light, came out of their homes. They saw the tiny star, and a flicker of something they hadn't felt in a long time sparked in their eyes. It was a memory of hope. The star's light was not just a light, it was a reminder of their own forgotten dreams. The next day, the village was different. People spoke of the star and of the dreams they had remembered. The sadness that had weighed them down began to lift, and their dreams grew lighter. Leo and Alara worked day and night, weaving the new, lighter dreams into stars. With every star they sent into the sky, the village felt a little more like itself again. Soon, the sky above the village was no longer silent. It was a tapestry of shimmering light, a celestial map of a people who had found their way back to hope. Alara, her work complete, finally rested, her soul becoming part of the starlight. And Leo, the boy who had once longed for the stars, became the new star weaver, ensuring that the sky would never be empty again. The village of the silent sky was now, and forever would be, the village of the shining stars.